Get something to the bank. Okay, so I mean, we'll see afterwards. So I think we're learning tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going at 5:40. But they don't start early here. They start at 6:30. Pegemas Ksubasa, which is what we learned in the Mishnah a couple of days ago, and all the way at the end of the Mishnah, on the base, Reb Shimon added some information. And Reb Shimon said, Kolzman she toivas Ksubasa. If she is demanding her ksuba, then her yarshin mashbina, so the yarshin could make her swear. But any tavas ksubasa, and she's not claiming her ksuba, ain't no yarshin mashbina. So what does this mean? What exactly is Reb Shimon talking about? So, just to review a little bit before we get into Reb Shimon, our Mishnah discussed what it is that requires a shvuah. So we said, if she's pagemes ksubasa, she said she was partially paid, or if there's one aid that says she was paid, there she has to make a shvuah. We also said that if she's collecting from the chasim shubadim, meaning she's seizing property, something like keach, A, or B, if she's taking from Yosy Simon, she also has to swear. She also has to swear. In all those cases, she has to swear. Those were the four cases where we said she has to swear. And if you remember, we had an Abba Shol ben Miriam who said that if the husband releases her from a shvuah, then she's completely released from any shvuahs to anybody except from the assignment. Because he said, what should I do? The Chacham say that whenever someone wants to collect from Yisraelim, they have to make a shvuah. That's what we had in the Gemara Paskening. Now, today we're going to have to scratch our memory a little bit because we also had the halacha in the previous Mishnah of a husband who releases his wife from making a shvuah, and depending on what his nusach was, will control how much she's released from, and if she's released to the Yarshim. But it was only Abba Shol ben Miriam who said that any lashon of release includes everybody, right, except for Yisrael. And then we had the halacha of after she's no longer an apotropos for her husband, the Yisraelim only have a right to be mashbiah her if she took an apotropos for them. And even before that Mishnah, we had another Mishnah that discussed what is she normally liable to swear upon. The Tanakama said she's normally liable to swear on apotropos, and Rabbi Eliezer said that her husband could even make her swear that she's not using too much flour. She's not selling flour out the back door. Or when she serves a roast on Yom Tov, she didn't cut off 10% and sell it out the back door for spare cash. He even has a right to make her swear that. All those halachas are going to come into play now. So just to review quickly, we have the shita of Rabbi Eliezer that the husband can make the wife swear that she didn't steal anything from the household. We have the halacha that a husband can release his wife from making shvuas, and Abba Shol ben Miriam paskins that any slight nusach of releases them from any type of shvuah except for being toifus from Yosy Simon. And then we have the different things that she would have to swear about. Okay, so now let's see what it is that Reb Shimon said, because that's what we're focusing on now. The end of the Mishnah, what Reb Shimon is talking about. Reb Shimon said, "Kol zman shetevas ksubasa." Frag the Gemara Reb Shimon ahaya. Exactly what is Reb Shimon referring to? That he's arguing. He says only when there's a ksuba that you have to swear, but not other times. Amar B'Yirmiyah, aha. The Gemara is going to have 3 tries to figure out what Reb Shimon is talking about, and finally the Gemara is going to come up with a couple of different shot. Reb Shimon ahaya. Amar B'Yirmiyah, aha. This is what Reb Shimon is going on. V'nifras shaloi b'fanov loy sifra ella b'shvua. If she is, we had in the last Mishnah that one of the places she has to swear is when her husband disappears. He sends her a get from far away, and now she has to claim and take Hamez Nechasim. So she has to make a shvua. So Zog to Gemara, what does that mean? Lo yishna lemezoni v'lo yishna l'kshuva. Say if he didn't divorce her, he just disappeared, and she needs money to survive. So if she wants to liquidate his nechasim to be able to buy food with, she has to make a shvua. Rashi lemezoni bala bezin v'tevas mezainos menichse baila. She's coming to Bezin. I'm starving to death. My husband has fields, and I want to liquidate the fields. Shalai b'fan if he's not here because he took off. Or loishna l'mazaini bala bezin v'tevas mezainos menichse baila limker karka v'lazoina. So she can have mezainis. Nishbashli, she has to swear. Maybe he left her cash. Why should she liquidate his nechosim if there's cash? So she has to swear there's no cash around, and they have to sell his karka. From the Vatans, he sent her a get, so she wants to claim her ksuba. So that could be what the Chachamim. So I'm Rabbi Yemeha. In the Frash Shaloi B'Fonav, L'Sifra El B'Ksuba El B'Shvua L'Shna L'Mazonim L'Shna L'Ksuba. That's what the Tanakama says. Maybe Reb Shimon's arguing and saying, "Kozmancha Tivas Ksubasa Yersha Mashpinasa." Anytime she's being Taveya, her Ksuba, then her Yershim, the children, could force her to swear. I'm sorry? Correct. So that's where Reb Shimon would be arguing on Tanakama. Any Tavas Ksubasa, but if she's not being Taveya Ksuba, then Ein Yershin Mashpinasa. What is the Machlokes about? The Kamifigli Beplukte de Chanan Upnei Kohanim Gedolim. There was a machlokes Chanan and the children of the Kohanim Gedolim. That's non-learned. Misha halach leMedina Siyam. Somebody went leMedina Siyam. The ishtoi tevas mezainis, and his wife wants mezainis. Chanan oimer tishva. She should swear besoif, only at the end, meaning when she's coming to take from her ksuba. But she shouldn't swear right away now when she's taking mezainis. She has to swear now when she's taking mezainis, and when she's ready to take her ksuba, she has to swear again. And Rashi on the Gemara we just learned is actually on Amud Aleph. So I'm turning back to the Amud Aleph to learn Rashi and what we just said. Tishbel of Besoif is kishet is almond, oishit is garish. Right now she doesn't have to swear; she can take mezainis. But when she eventually becomes an almana or gets divorced, the titva ksubasa, and so one ksuba, then tishva she has to swear. She didn't have anything from her husband. She'll swear for her ksuba. She's not going to have to swear for her mezainis. Betchila means bepisik mezainis. She has to swear even to get mezainis. So Zot Gemara now it'll be very geschmack to say that's exactly what Reb Shimon and the Tanakama are arguing about. So Zot Gemara, let's say that Reb Shimon kechanan. Reb Shimon knows the Chanan that she only swears when she's coming to claim her ksuba, and Rabbanon kivnei kahanim, and the Rabbanon knows like kivnei kahanim gedolim that even for mezainos she has to swear, and that's the lashon of Reb Shimon that tevas ksubasa is mayorshim mashbinaisa. The main tevas ksubasa you should take mezainos ain't a yorshim mashbinaisa. For the Gemara, this cannot be pshat in the Mishnah. Maskef or Reb Sheshes. If she's being tevas mezainis, her husband is alive, right? If she's being tevas mezainis, her husband is alive. He just went away, so she wants mezainis. So for the Yarshin must be nicer. The Yarshin must be here. The Yarshin have nothing to do with this. It's Bezdin must be nice in the Bible. So if the machlokes is whether or not she swears when her husband disappears and she wants to get mezainis, that has nothing to do with the Yarshin. So the lashon of Reb Shimon ain't Hayorshim must be nicer or Hayorshim must be nicer. Doesn't stem with this pshat. It's going on a different case. And this is the second half of the Mishnah that talks about him releasing her from making shvuos. And the second half of the Mishnah says, which means that she didn't take on any apatrupsis on behalf of the Yisraelim. So her husband might have released her from any shvuos for any apatrupsis that he had for her. But after he died, then she didn't take on any apotropsis on behalf of the Yosayim. But the main point is she didn't do any business. She didn't control the money that belonged to Yosayim. So the Mishnah fears is Ein hayorshin mashbinois. The yorshin cannot be mashbir. Then yorshin mashbinoisa. Only on something that occurred later after they appointed as an apotropos. Now, just to remind ourselves how the Gemara understood this Gemara here, the Gemara ended up saying that there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Masna what this means. Does this mean after the Misa, or does this only mean after the Kfura? Right? And the Gemara said yesterday that the machlokes is, since up until the Kfura, emergency needs, you could sell without the proper tendering process because we're in a rush to get the money. We don't have time to start getting bids. So for the same reason, we're not mashbir her. Rashi says we're not mashbir her because she probably sold for too cheap. So you can't make her swear that she got fair value because she didn't get fair value. And Tosha says make her swear l'chalapochos that she didn't pocket any of the money. And Tosha says if we make her swear, she'll say, you know what, I don't need this, and she'll leave the mace and she'll go home. So in order to make sure that it'll be covered in mace, we don't bother her or chop her. And that was the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Masna in that Mishnah. But now we want to say that Rabbi Shimon here is also in the picture. But also Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon commented on that Mishnah, calls Mancha to ask Ksubasa, is if she's wanting the Ksuba, Yorshin Mashbinoisa. The Yorshin could be Mashbir. Eina to ask Ksubasa, and Yorshin Mashbinoisa. So what's this machlokes about? So the Gemara introduces us to a new machlokes. She'll be arguing, Shimon will be arguing on the Chachamim in the same machlokes as Abba Shaul and the Rabban. Ditnan, apotropos shemineu avi Yisayim. What if the father of the Yisayim appointed an apotropos to be in charge of the finances? So the halach is Yishava, he has to swear. He has to swear. But mineu Bezdin, if Bezdin appointed a person as an apotropos, lo yishva, he doesn't have to swear. Abba Shaul mechilaf advarim. If it's mineu Bezdin, then he has to swear. But mineu Abba Shaul lo yishva. What's this swear? Why should he have to swear if Bezdin was mineu as an apotropos? Or why should he have to swear if the father appointed him as an apotropos? So Rashi at the top of over here, at the top of the base, says very, very nicely. Mishum shvus apotropos. The Havalo apotropos sheminu avi Yisayim. So first of all, Rashi tells us that this case that Reb Shimon is talking about is considered. It's considered that the father was memana her for an apotropos. So if she becomes an apotropos after he dies over the estate, over the monies, we consider it apotropos sheminu avi Yisayim, and we'll see why shortly. But what would be the machlokes? And Reb Shimon holds that she doesn't have to swear, just like Abba Shaul says that if it's mino, if it's an apotropos of Yisayim, there's no shavua. There's only a shavua if the Bezdin was meman her, but this apotropos we consider that he was meman her. The Omer Chilaf Advarim, who said Chilaf Advarim. The Tamayu Mefarish, the Gemara Gittin explains what's the swear the machlokes the Perkan is up in. Rabban Savi, the Rabban hold Mineu Bezdin. If Bezdin appoints somebody as an apotropos, lo yishvei doesn't have to swear. You know why? The imkein mimna will have apotropos. Bezdin needs to find somebody to take custody of their finances to run it. It's a volunteer position, not getting paid. So if you're going to pepper me with shvuas, I don't need it. He's not going to want to take the job if they don't trust him. But if the father appointed somebody to be in charge of the money, loy mimna. Even if we force him to swear, he won't say I don't want to do it. You know why? Because why is he doing it? He's doing it the lab the havale hano minei b'chayav. If he didn't owe the father a favor, loy have a mimni. He wouldn't have done it. So he has to take on that apotropos anyway because he owes the father a favor. Since he has to take it on anyway, we'll make him swear. But if it's a volunteer position, when Bezdin asks someone to do it, if they require a shua from him, they'll say, you know what? I'm moichel the COVID. I don't want it. So that's why the Tanakama holds that Minei Aviv swears, but Minei Bezdin does not swear. Abba Shaul says Pumfikert. Abba Shaul over Minei Avi Yisayim, if the father was meman him, Iyadu de Mishbi, like Mimni, will have apotropos. Even if he owes the father a favor, I'm going to do you a favor if you trust me. You don't trust me, I have to swear. I'm not going to do it for you. So therefore, he holds if it's Minei Oviv, which we consider this woman in this case, she would not have to swear al apotropos. But if Bezdin said you're going to become an apotropos, that's a very double choshev. If Bezdin trusts you to manage the estate, you're going to want to do it. And we're not worried that you'll refrain if they make you swear. Even though the person being appointed by Bezdin knows they're going to make him swear, still I'm in there. You know why? The chashivusa hi legabei. It's very choshev to be appointed as an apotropos, the mehemen ulevedina. Someone who's believed by Bezdin to control someone else's assets, that's a very big vote of confidence. He'll do it even if he has to swear. So it's just a machlokes in judgment who we really want everyone to swear. Who can we get away with forcing them to swear? Who's not going to turn away the apotropos when we need it? So Zok to Gemara, that is precisely. I'm sorry.
Both are not
correct. So we're going to see precisely what the machlokes is. So Zok to Gemara, Rab Shimon holds Kabashol. Rab Shimon holds the Kabashol that we do not force her to swear over the apotropos of running the estate because the father appointed it, which would argue with our Mishnah for Rabbanan, but the Rabbanan would hold that an apotropos, even though it was appointed by the father, would still be mechuyev to swear. So when Rab Shimon says, his lashon is Rab Shimon Aimer Kozman she teves ksubasa, when she's wanting a ksuba, there she has to swear she didn't get. There is mashprinaisa. But if she's not being tevei ksuba, she's just being an apotropos, she's running the estate. There they can't make her swear. Now Tosfos says over here, the kamiflagi b'flukta the Rabbanan. The second Tosfos says umas nisin kegoyin shemina baila lachamisa. Our Mishnah is speaking where the father was memana his wife to take care of the assets after he dies. We can't possibly say that this woman was an apotropos because she was appointed by Bezdin. Why? The Idnamidim Noshim apotropos. So that's how I know our case is a case of Minu Oviv. I'm sorry? Bezdin does. So therefore, it's a Geshmak HaMachlokes. Rab Shimon who holds that she only has to swear for Kshuba, not for anything else, holds like Abishol, that since the father appointed her, she's not mechuyev to swear. The Rabbanan would hold that she would be mechuyev to swear, even on apotropos. So Zok to Gemara, once again, the kamiflically beflukted Abishol for Rabbanan, it's not apotropos, Shemino Yosy Simon Yishba, which is the Sfar Tanakama, Mino Bezdin Lo Yishba, but Abishol Mechilaf Advar, Mino Bezdin Yishba, Mino Yosy Simon Lo Yishba, and that's how Rab Shimon holds Kabashol, that she would only swear when she collects Ksuba, not for anything else, for Rabbanan Rabbanan. Matzkaf Labai, this does not make sense either. Because if you read the Lashon of Rab Shimon, let's look at his Lashon. Rab Shimon number, Kolzman, she tevas Ksubasa, Yosh Mashpinoisa. Doesn't it sound like he's trying to be machmer? If she's going to be running Ksuba, she has to swear. It's mashmer that Rab Shimon is being machmer. In fact, Rab Shimon is being mekel. Rab Shimon is saying you only have to swear for the Ksuba. But for anything else, you don't have to swear. So maskef law, freak the Gemara. This is a shver maskef abai high kolzman sheteves ksubasa. That's not what the nusach of Rab Shimon should have been, which makes it sound like Rab Shimon's being machmir. Im tevas mebadli. He should have said only if she's tevei ksuba, only there does she have to swear. So the mashmois of Rab Shimon's words doesn't seem to sound like Rab Shimon is being mekel. Zok Rashi, Im high kozman shetevas bitmia. However, Rab Shimon lekula my kozman, which is mashma that it's coming to be machmer. Im tevas meboile. Aval kozman mashma. The shami the Tanakama the potela mishvua afilu tevas ksubasa. It sounds like he's responding to the Tanakama who held that she's potter, even though she's tevas ksuba. V'amalayu kozman shetevas ksubasa lo shifterena. But it's not true. For Keret, she's trying to say that you don't swear, even though the Chum will say you do swear for the standard apotropos. Al-Amar Bayi, I'll have a different job. Cause of law, going back to the Friedrich Commissioner. That's why I chaz it over all the Mishnayos, because the Gemara is going all over the place to try to find out what Rab Shimon is talking about. It's going back on the last Mishnah. Cause of law, another shvur en li'alecha. So let's just stop for a second just to get our bearings. The Mishnah that Rab Shimon was talking about was the Mishnah that was talking about Kamas Ksubasa. Now we want to say Rab Shimon is going back on the Friedrich Mishnah of Kasav Laneder Shavuot, which is the Mishnah right before that, at the bottom of Pevav Amadays. Right? So now we're saying Rab Shimon the Tanakama waited probably for all the sugya to go through all the different shavuos, and then it brings up Shimon, but Reb Shimon's really arguing on the first part of the Mishnah. So let's see what it is that Abaye says he's arguing. The Mishnah says in the Tanakama, "Cause of l'neder shvua en li'alecha, en li'yachal hashpia, he can't be mashpir. Neder shvua en li v'lo liyashev v'lo l'vayim b'shusi, alecha v'lo yeshecha v'lo l'vayim b'shusecha, en yachal hashpia lo hu v'lo liyashev v'lo l'vayim b'shusay, lo yi v'lo yeshev v'lo l'vayim b'shusay." So basically, the Tanakama said that if he uses a nusach, that sai me and sai my yorshim and sai anybody who comes in my place cannot mana shvua, not from you, not from your yorshim, and not from anybody who comes in your place, then he can't mana shvua. Okay, that's a kula. And Reb Shimon's coming to be mach when he's arguing on that time. Vash Reb Shimon lemeimar calls man sheteves ksubasa yorshim ashpinois. Beautiful. The kamivli bepluked Abishol b'nei Miriam. Exactly like what you said. That's exactly the machloikis of Abishol and Miriam. Because Abishol and Miriam says that you never make her swear, but you've been goyim nichsi yisayim and goyim el b'shvua.
He said, I would say as yo, but v'dachtina the Torah.
Right. So the Tanakama holds even there you don't have to swear. Abishol and Miriam holds, but being goyim nichsi yisayim that's b'nich yoshver. Rabbanon, so the Abishol b'nei Miriam, Rabbanon. That's the machlokes. Reb Shimon kabashol. Reb Shimon's going like Abishol that in fact you do have to swear to be goyim nichsi yisayim, and that's what Reb Shimon meant when he said that if you're being goyim nichsi yisayim, Reb Shimon Eimer kozmanchi teves ksubasa hayoshim ashbinoisa is because he's arguing on the Tanakama who holds even then you wouldn't have to swear when you use that as an nisach, that you never have to swear. But Abishol holds Avama Nasa, Avama Ma'esa, the Chacham fathers a shvu when you're money from Nichsi Yisayim, and Rabbanon, Matzkel Varpapa. I don't like this pshat either, because Ha Teinech calls man shetevas ksubasa, but any tevas ksubasa Michael remember. Let's look at the Shimon's logic. Reb Shimon says calls man she tevas ksubasa if she's money your ksuba tevas hayoshim mashbinos. So that makes sense. Right? He's arguing like Abishol ben Miriam. He's saying that when she's mourning suba, she has to make a shua. But Reb Shimon says more. Reb Shimon adds, the Chacham agreed to that. So what is he arguing with that? Zok the Gemara Mordik. Reb Shimon is arguing on everything. Not only is Reb Shimon holding like Abishol, he's not holding like Abishol. That even though she was released from any type of shvuah, but to take from nichlis shem, she still has to swear, which is the first comment that Shimon made. But he also argues not on the last Mishnah, on two Mishnayos ago, like we mentioned at the beginning, we chazed at the beginning, where he can make her swear for every Narishkeit. Shimon argues on that too, and Shimon says that Eina Tevas Ksubasa, if she's not being Tevek Ksuba, Eina Yosh Mashpinoisa. They can't be mashpir at all. They cannot be mashpir for all those things that Reb Shimon said you could be mashpir, that the Tanakam and Reb Eliezer said you could be mashpir for. You cannot. So you can't be mashpir for anything. So he argues on the Tanakama you can't be mashpir for anything, and he says, but for mourning the ksuba taken from Nichsi Yisayim, there you are mashpir. So Reb Shimon is literally arguing on everything from before. Let's see Rashi inside. He says it's beautiful. Elomar Papa. Don't think he's only arguing on the last Mishnah that talks about when someone releases his wife from Shavuos, that he argues like Abishol and says she still has to swear to take her trubah from Nichsi Yisayim. He's arguing on everything. He's even arguing back on two Mishnayos ago. Shamanu the Kami Rebbe Elazar Rabbanon Mashbia calls man sheyirta shvus apaturpia heicha deloy patrim and nedu min shvua. He has a right. The husband has a right to make a woman swear on any job that he gives her, and the Rebbe holds he can even make her swear at any time. Every day he can come and say, "Swear you didn't steal chicken. Swear you didn't steal sugar." Every day he could do that. They held a husband to make her swear anytime he wants. That's A. And then they held, but the important in shvur, the Tanakh held, but if the husband releases it from shvus, then I feel Yarshin ain't mashpina so kisha the first man. Then the Yarshin cannot be mashpia her even when she's taking her ksuba. And the Tanakh says he came on any shvur. Was Reb Shimon to argue on everything. Remember, when she's wanting her ksuba, Yarshin mashpina so even if there was a complete release, like Abba Shol and Miriam. But feel because of the nether shvur ain't the Yarshin alecha. Kabashol, that ain't ksubasa. I'm sorry, like Abashol, that when she's being taken or ksuba, no matter what, no matter when, no matter what type of release there is, she has to swear. And then he's also arguing about ain't ksubasa, ain't ksubasa, ain't a yosh mashpina la petrupia shebechaye baila. They can't make her swear for anything that occurred when her husband was alive. I feel loy potter min ashvur, even if he never released her. The last lady Rebbe Loshon Machlukusai. He dinks on the first Mishnah who holds that they can make her swear for anything if there's no release. So he argues that. So he argues Lakilla. He argues Lakilla over there and Lachim over here.
But Rebbe Lezer never gave the shis to Yosy Simon to be mashpia the mother for.
They have the same right as the father did. They're actually the same right as the father did. So the reason why, the reason why the Yosy Simon can't is because the father couldn't. She has no chiyuv shvur. She has no chiyuv shvur to swear on anything.
The Rebbe Lezer says that the Simon.
He doesn't say first Jim, but it's partial the Simon could. If there's a right that the father can make them swear, so by definition, the Simon should be able to make them swear as well. Sure, take it for the kid because if she stole from him, he stole it for Zael. If she stole from her husband, then she stole from the Yisrael. And it's not after her children. It's his children. So Shimon's mamish for care from the ganze feed the Kasuga, he argues and everything. So through Reb Shimon Ibachazim, the full last blood and a half. Okay, Gishmak. Okay, Zok more weiter. Chatzio get the Eini Ksuba. What if she pulls a get, but she didn't have a ksuba? And Rashi says, Kasol Kadadich Boimeris Obach Tak Subasi. She has a get, but she doesn't have a ksuba. She says, I lost my ksuba, but Zayst get. So if I'm get, I want my ksuba. So Chatzia get Eini Ksuba. The Allah is Goive Ksubasa. With only her get, she could want a ksuba. Zok Rashi, he can't tell you that I paid you already your ksuba. Where's your ksuba? And you already gave me back your ksuba, and I tore it. You know why? We should the Tanai ksuba Maisa Bezdin. The Tanai ksuba that he has to give her Manu Masayim is a chiv of Bezdin, and a chiv of Bezdin she doesn't have to have a star for. That are toyin acher Maisa Bezdin lo yemaklum. My timer because Kol Maisa Bezdin command the knuckle stored on it. If there's a chiv bezin to give ksuba, that alone is a ksuba. So therefore, she could want it.
About the
The Gemara is going to get into that, whether or not it includes the ksuba as well. Okay, what happens if she has a ksuba of enim get? She comes with a ksuba, but she doesn't have a get, and she says, "I lost my get." Right? So he omeres abad giti. She says, "I lost my get." Rashi says. I didn't use it to moon maksibit. We already know with a get unaksibit she can moon. So he says he'll ask her where's the get. She'll say, no, I didn't already moon once. Don't worry. You can't got it. I didn't moon already ksuba with my get once. This is the only time that I'm asking. It's not like we learned a minute ago that goyvik subasa she could moon ksuba with just presenting the get. But Bezin didn't tear it up, which they would do had I monned my ksuba with the get. I lost it. But who I would try for? And he said, no, that's not what happened. I did give it to you already. So the husband says, you already lost your get because Bezin took away your get because I paid you already. Because you came before Bezdin and the Amrit and you claimed to Bezdin of Ashtak Subasi. So you only presented your get, you didn't present your ksuba, you said you lost your ksuba, and they made me pay you already. The Gabu Beznak ksuba, they get the Karun, they tore it up. But they knew that you might be holding on to your ksuba because you didn't present your ksuba. So because of that, for extra protection, they wrote me a receipt. The Li Nichtav Shoiver ala ksuba. they wrote me a receipt that I paid already. Shem Taitzi Oid, Al Yorshi, Star Ksuba. If you try to be a crook and pull the Ksuba and collect from me or my Yorshim a second time, the Tavoy Ligvois, Mikoich Almanus. Oh, so you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. I'll get because once you want it, you might not do that. But what you might do is after I die, you might come to my Yisayim and double dip, because then you can collect without a get, because an almana doesn't have a get. So they have to allow you to collect with your ksuba alone. If you come to a ksuba and town with mugur ashes, they'll say, "Where'd you get?" They for sure won't give it to you. But what if they come? What if you come after I die to collect? There, they have to let you collect because you can't have a get if you're an almana. I was not a get, and therefore therefore I was not paid by ksuba yet. The receipt will be an aid, but what should I do? I lost that receipt. So do I have to pay again? Or even by a regular b'choiv, it's the Chemaim Musker. Now we just need a principle. A guy comes to mon me, but Shemitah passed, and he doesn't have his principle. Doesn't have. But you're allowed to move without a principle, and we'll see in a second. We'll see in a second. What is that gone to you? Till you moon all your chayvus. But look at this. But if he says the any my principle, then then you won't collect from him. You won't collect from him again, and the bachayv who doesn't have his principle, you don't collect from. But Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer minasakana ve'elech. Once they were when they start killing Eden to do mitzvahs. So if a Yid gave a get, they would kill the Eden. If a Yid wrote a principle, they'd kill the Eden. Then a woman could be goyvik subas beget, because what they used to do is they used to burn their principles, because if they would get caught with a principle, they got killed. And therefore, ubachayiv goyvik shaloy principle. Halacha l'ma'aseh we paskin, even though it's no longer a shas hasakana. Once the shas hasakana they said that you don't have to hold on to your principle, you don't have to hold on to your get. It's that way, even though now it's not a shas hasakana anymore. Okay, Vivalti. From this Mishnah, you see Shmamina Kosun Shover. Now, the question of Kosun Shover is as follows: if I'm a loiva and you're a malva, right? So, really, the way it should work is, if I pay you back, I demand that you give me the star, and then I could destroy it. And if I destroy the star, I don't have to hold on to anything. I don't have to keep receipts. It's simple. You'll never be able to collect from me because you don't have a star. But there's a shita who holds that the malva could say, no, I want to hold on to the star for my records. You don't want me to collect from you again? I'll write you a receipt that you paid in full. So that's not good for the loiva, because now the loiva has to store this and keep it safe to protect himself. So the question is, what is the halacha? Can we put that liability on the loiva and force him to hold on to a receipt? Or no, the loiva can always say, I want the star, because I don't want to have to hold on to a receipt. That means now the malva has to watch his star, because if he doesn't have a star, he can't collect. So that is an overarching shaila. There's a general shaila. Can you make the loiva hold on to a receipt? In other words, can the malva say, I don't want to give back the star loiv, I'll give you a receipt that you have to watch. So we can bring a raya from this brisa to the shaila of whether or not you can force a loiva to hold a receipt, and you could bring a raya from here that you can force a loiva to hold a receipt. Why? The ein koshrin shover, if you don't have the right to force the loiva to hold on to a receipt, lechush dilma mafka ksubasa. Why aren't we afraid that if he dies, she'll pull out her ksuba vigaviba, and then she'll collect? Zokt Rashi, Shmami no midikatani goyvik subasa. Boitzos get, since in the first case of the Mishnah, it says that she could pull out a get, not present her ksuba, yet still collect a get. We're not worried that she'll be a crook. And what might you do? She'll pull out her ksuba in a different bezdin. And after he dies, she'll collect again. She'll say that I wasn't discouraged. and therefore Veloy Nefratia was never paid because she's still holding on to her ksuba. The Havade B'teres Grusha Lehadragabe. She's not going to be able to come and say, I'm a Grusha, the Hakarina Legita, because we would have torn up her get, like we said before. She can't collect a second time from him, because if she can't present the get, he can say, I already paid you. But if she comes to Achamisa, she could collect again. And if she pulls out her ksuba again without a get, Tanan Masnis, we just looked in the Mishnah, but that we still should be concerned that she's going to wait until he dies. Since we're not chayish to that, so it must be that we have a right to force the husband to have to hold on to a receipt. So if we can force the husband to hold on to a receipt, we can force every loiva to hold on to a receipt. The loiva doesn't have a right to say, Lo Yefra, I don't want to pay, don't write me a receipt. I want the original star so I can tear it up. Shema taxes because I don't want to be collected from a second time. They tell him, no, pay, and you don't get the star back, but will make him write you a receipt. But now it's a pain in the neck for you because you have to hold on to the receipt. And the Kaimalon, and who do we pass like in Baba Batra? Commandomer ain't Kaisun. We pass that you don't force the loiva to hold on to a receipt, rather you make the malva give up a star. Because if you force the loiva to hold a receipt, now the loiva has a problem for the rest of his life. He's got to watch this shofar. And we don't want to put him through that. Therefore, we say that you don't write a shofar, and instead you have to give up the star, which he could destroy. So Zog to Gemara, you have a raya from here, from the fact that we're willing to give her the ksuba with only producing her get and not pursuing the ksuba, even though there's a concern that she might collect again. It must be that we don't have a problem forcing the husband to hold on to the shofar. Zog to Gemara, no, you don't have a raya. Omer Rav, Zog Rav, it's b'mokim she'ein koisfin ksuba. It's in a place where they don't write ksubas. This Mishnah is speaking in a case where the minig was not the right ksubas at all, askinon, and they're just relying on the T'nai Bezdin. Okay, I must stop because it's 7:20, and I'm saying slichs at 7:30. So normally I can stop 5 minutes before. So what happened is even though I was so far ahead, I'm not so far ahead anymore. So we'll stop here and we'll be mamshech Mishum tomorrow.
So what time tomorrow?
Tomorrow is going to be tomorrow it's going to be 5:40.
Und so noch ist die Norm ist das jetzt kann mir brachen gut das geht so das ist werden heiser und das ist Stall
I don't know how to shut off my alarm.